Good evening and welcome once again. It's Power Prep Sports coming to you, Stan and the coach. Got another great show for you tonight. We're going to have, we've been asking for a couple of weeks. We want to start interviewing assistant coaches, and we've got one tonight. We've got the Straughn strength and conditioning coach. We got Coach Trae Bowen. They'll be joining us shortly. Uh, right now, Coach Ennis, the original coach, uh, he may or may not make the show. Not real sure. He had to go and get Stevie and Jonathan this weekend over in Augusta at the Masters, and Stevie's Chevette broke down out in front of that house over at the Masters, and so they've had a time. I think police got involved. They may have to spend the night over in Augusta, and it's been a slow time back to Alabama. But if Coach gets in, he's going to try to join us. But got that if he joins us, and then we're going to take an in-depth look at what we've wanted to do as far as get assistant coaches and talk to them as strength and conditioning. You hear a lot of teams now that you have a coach on staff that's their title, and a lot of folks think, well, that's just the weight room coach. Well, there's a lot more involved with it than just opening up the weight room. You got to plan the workouts. You got your in season, your off season, your summer, your running, your auxiliary lifts, and all types of conditioning that goes into it that prepares a team, a football team or any sports team, year round. So we're going to get some good insight tonight from what they're doing out at Straughn. Straughn had a successful season, had new head coach, Ashley Kilcrease, has a great young staff, and Coach Kilcrease is, I think, going to, well, I'm going to say turn everything around because I think he's done that in 1 year. But the enthusiasm high, the kids buying into what those coaches are doing out there, and it is a great thing that we have one here tonight. And Coach Gilchrist brags on him a lot. And we got head the head strength and conditioning coach, strong coach Trae Bowen. Coach, how's things going this evening?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate your time.
Well, when folks get uh, the program in fall, they like to look through it and they see who all the coaches are, and they come down there and said, okay, Coach Bowen, strength and conditioning. All right. Kind of in just simple terms, what is the strength and conditioning coach?
Well, most of the time I feel like I'm earning a side degree in logistics with all of our moving parts. Um, it's it's a lot of work, obviously, but I enjoy what I'm doing. I like being involved with all of our kids that across or all of our male athletes. I don't get to condition any of the females, but all of our male athletes, I get to see them, get to know them, um, and influence them in their playing and living. Um,
Well, Coach, with doing that, getting to know the kids, because you do have to know everybody. As far as the program in which y'all do, uh, let's talk about what y'all do during the season as far as the
okay.
list.
This past season, we would typically go. We wanted to 3 days a week. Sometimes a few weeks here and there, time constraints. You're trying to get to practice, trying to get things in. Would cut down to 2 or 1, but 3 days a week were the goal. And during season is about maintaining. We don't want to lose what we've gained in the off season, in the spring, through the summer, during the season. We don't want to lose what we gained, and we don't want to look if we don't want to be weaker week 11 in the first round of the playoffs than we were week 1. you go, if we went 2 months not lifting, 3 months not lifting, there's a substantial difference in your ability when it matters the most at the end of the year, starting the playoffs, and you're not as strong as you were when you started. It matters a lot. Maintaining that strength for the contest, and also maintaining it to build on what you've done previously in the next off season. We don't want our kids to lose we don't want to just start back over. We never really max out what we are able to accomplish if we take off in season. We have a lot of our kids, I would say 80% of our football players play another sport. They play basketball or baseball or both. We have several kids that play all three, and that's great. We want them. If they can help and they can contribute, they need to play. And at the same time, we want them to understand this isn't a time off in the weight room. I get it. Like we can't kill you in here during your season, but we've got to do things. We got to find time to maintain what we've accomplished now or so far. And that's where a lot of the logistics comes in, curtailing some workout plans for baseball season and basketball season. Basketball guys play 3 days a week. They can lift 2 days. They can do a light lift on a game day, just some plyometric work, some band work on a game day. They can we get a Wednesday and a Thursday with no games. Well, we're going to do pretty heavy and a lot of volume on that Wednesday, more lighter on that Thursday to get some soreness out so we can play the best of our ability on Friday. Coach Trevor Driver is phenomenal and wanting to work with us and us work with him. Like, we don't want to inhibit success, but we also want to make sure that we're giving them the best opportunity to be successful year round. So it just takes communicating and working together across everybody and everybody being on the same page. And if our one goal is Straughn and being successful, then that happens.
Now, okay, you talked about the in-season program. You roll in after spring, going into your summer. Well, let's back up. Coach. After the season, then you have your off season. All right.
Yes.
Now, and we all know, or maybe everybody doesn't all know, that is where you make your biggest gains is going to be in the off season, as far as getting that strength. Now, do y'all do like get a 1 rep max and take a percentage of that and do maybe a 7-week program where they're doing a percentage and a number of lifts, or y'all have a different thing that you do? Do you do a 10 rep max on certain things?
We're a 1 rep max program. We'll go 6 to 8 weeks, and it kind of depends on how I don't think you can be concrete on a program for us because we have so many that do something else. Mm-hmm. And we got to make that work with a school schedule, a spring break that pops up, 4 baseball games this week, that kind of thing. I don't want to go no more than 7 weeks typically without getting a new max, because if those games, if gains are made, if we get stronger in week 4, well, we want to see that result of it in 2 weeks, not 3, not 4 weeks.
All right.
So we can set a new standard for ourselves and move off of that number. That's my mindset on it. I've seen programs that they somewhat get a new max every week, or they base it on their number of reps. And I've done that before. I haven't done it long term enough to see if I like that. When I have more time with this group, I may implement that. I got to look more into it. But yes, we're 6 to 7 week program. Kind of depends on how it falls. Next week, actually, I'd like for us to max out again to see where we are, mainly because we're going to be rolling into spring training in a couple weeks. Well, I don't want to max out during if we were going to wait 2 more weeks, it's going to be the week of spring training. We're trying to get max. So I got to make that work for us. Again, that's some of the thinking way ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I think I aggravate Coach some because I'll ask him like 3 weeks from now, X, Y, Z, and I know he's kind of wondering why am I wanting to know this. Well, I'm thinking about this workout schedule.
Right. You're trying to get things ready for the future. All right. Well, then in the summer, y'all once school's out, y'all give kids a few weeks off before they have to come back in the weight room and start that whole process. The way rules have changed now. Summer is it's not like you can only do a certain number of days. There's a lot of things you can do now in the summer with on the field stuff, and I know you got to work your workouts around that. You got to work around your conditioning while you're running. But basically, really, that's about the only time you get your kids, all of them that are doing those 3 sports, is in the summertime.
That's right. Like, in the summertime, with those 2 months are the only time of the year where all football players are together. Excuse me, during the summertime. Excuse me. But starting the summer, we'll give them a week off. When we finish school, they'll have a week off, and they were given that schedule, our summer calendar, in February, I believe, early March. So they know, hey, we're off this week, 4th of July week, last week of the summer. These are your vacations, okay? These are your days. You're expected to make 17 workouts. There are 21 on the schedule expected to be here. We'll go 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, when we're in the morning. You asked me another question. I lost track to answer it.
I guess as far as in your summer program of maybe what do y'all do as far as auxiliary stuff? Maybe with your running program, you set that up on times on certain things that you're doing. That's what I remember having to do, big laps and things were timed on that. And linemen used to hate they'd have to hear their number. They had to get a big lap in for that week because it's always tough on those big guys. But
yes.
What as far as running and conditioning do y'all do?
Right. I like 110s. Now I understand I got to build them up first. I can't start a group of guys off 110-yard sprints and we're going to run 10 of these. Okay, you're going to get through maybe 3 of them and they're gas, they're done.
Right.
But initially you're going to get acclimated and be able to run 110s for time. That skill guy, he is a 16-second or better on a 110, on a 110-yard sprint. The bigger bodies, we go 20 seconds, 21 seconds. Now, I understand these are not college athletes. That's a college standard pretty much. And some of those big bodies, they're not making that 110, 20 seconds. They're not making it in 25. But they can push themselves. As long as that hustle's there, that's satisfactory for us. There's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to sprinting and those and conditioning. To me, it's not. Weight room wise, we're going to have about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. We'll have 3 groups, so we want to get in there and get it out, get it done. So the main lifts we'll still do. I'll alternate accessories through those lifts and just keep a note. Like I have a running Excel document from the last 4 months of what we do on what day, what that set rep number, and I'll just go back and review. And I want to kind of have things on a 2 or 3 week rotation. And the kids are kind of getting used to it because they'll see it come back around. right here in the off season. I think it's important, like Coach Gilchrist mentioned it to me, and I agree with it, and I'm going to kind of use this term, tell me if you don't understand it, to be consistently inconsistent. That we don't want Tuesday to always be lower body day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if it's that way in the summer, guess what? The 2 or 3 that hate squats, if they can miss 4 days, they're missing 4 Tuesdays.
Right.
Okay? They're missing 4 Tuesdays. So we're not doing that. Like, I don't do that in the off season. On Sunday and Monday, on Sunday afternoon, I'm checking the weatherman, because I got to know when we go outside. If Monday's the prettiest day of the week and I was inside and we lifted, and Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday were nasty and we had to stay in, I missed that outside time. So I got to make my days count as far as that goes. So keeping us logistical, thinking about the weather. In our facility, our weight room, we have a great field house, but our weight room really doesn't accommodate us as far as the numbers of kids we have. That our weight room is 25 by 38 feet. When we are all in there, it's about 45 athletes. When baseball's in there in the afternoon with us and the rest, it's about 45 athletes.
So y'all pretty much packed like sardines in the afternoon.
We are packed in there. And this is some more of the logistical things. Baseball is working on their in-season program. So I would print out sheets for them. These are your lifts today. This is your max. This is your weight. This is what you have. It gets them in and out. Okay, so they're kind of in their own section. They're getting what they need to do done. And we would create 3 groups with the remaining guys that are football or non-football players, non-baseball players. We'd create 3 groups with them and have 2 inside, one in the weight room, other half the weight room, 1 in the locker room area, and 1 group outside. Outside group, what we can do outside, we can work plyometrics, some decelerating. Inside locker room group, we are flexibility, injury prevention, and the other half of the weight room, those guys are getting their lift in. And when baseball gets out, we can rotate and fix ourselves and maximize the all of 48 minutes of time we have.
Right. I know that the time is short there. Well, Coach, as far as besides just the strength and conditioning, as far as positions, what are you involved with doing some position coaching as well?
Yes, sir. This past season, I coached our defensive backs, the safeties and corners. That's what I did this past year. We all shared a portion of special teams. So we've talked about making some changes, trying to see how some things fall with what happens with the staff as a whole. We're going to wait to see what happens when we get there. But yes, I've coached small football since I've started. This is the largest school I've ever worked at. I got my start at Kinston, and then I spent 3 years at Thorsby School in Chilton County. Kinston 1A, Thorsby 2A, and here at Straughn at Kinston and Thorsby, you coach everything. Okay, you don't have a big staff. Right. You got to learn how to do a lot of things. And I'm very fortunate for that. Early, I was kind of envious of others that I knew that, they coach one position.
Mm.
Well, looking back on it now, that's kind of helped shape me to have learned more. And I understand the larger picture.
Coach, don't let me interrupt right here. Coach Ennis is calling in. Make sure he's
okay.
on. Coach Ennis, hey, how's it going, man?
It's going better.
Okay.
We on the air?
We're on the air. I was telling folks, I got Coach Bowen, the strength and conditioning coach. We may have to do you by phone, but I was telling folks before we come on that you've had a rough go of it, that Stevie and Jonathan went to the Masters this past weekend. You had to ride over there and pick them up because they got arrested.
They did. When they hold up that quiet sign, they expect you to follow directions.
Yeah, well, they can't read, so.
And when Stevie started playing the harp when Tiger Wood was putting, that pretty much did it right there.
Yeah. Well, we got Coach Bowen on out there, Coach. We've pretty much gone through what he does as far as in season and off season and his summer program. We're kind of just wrapping up with him, and he's talking about as far as coaching positions, and he's coached at most of his time a small level program where you just about have to coach everything as far as position goes. And you got any questions for Coach Bowen?
I do. Coach,
Can you hear him?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. I've heard some really good things coming out of
This is a Straughn, man.
Straughn. Listen, I'm driving right now.
I know.
I've heard.
I hadn't heard any really good things coming out of Hop lately.
Well, I have.
That's another story.
I heard they're making some administrative changes, but anyway, Coach Gilcrease, he gives a lot of credit to the success that they had last year to what y'all are doing in the weight room, and he said, according to him, that there wasn't a lot of times you have that little lull during the season. He says that y'all actually gain strength during the season. How do you go about doing that?
Now, hey, Coach, he's gonna have to lay his whole map out again.
No, I don't want that. I just want to know. A lot of people talk about in-season workout. Do y'all do that, or do y'all just do a regular workout?
It is a in-season workout, and it's that because of time, the time to get in the weight room and be there. Also because we don't want to just run them ragged, run the kids. You don't want to ruin them, but they also, like I told them in the summer and early in camp, that they need to start getting their mind right. You're lifting in season, and the goal for us as a staff was we're going to lift 3 days a week. I understand sometimes it might be 1 day, it might be 2, but we're getting something in during this one day. It's going to be a main lift. It's going to be short and brief, but it's going to happen. Just accept it and expect it. If I was telling Coach Gooden, you can't forego 3 months of lifting. What you would have gained what you did gain, all the effort that you put in the off season this summer to get to the point you are now, you cannot let it go and expect to pick it up in December, January, and be as strong as you were when you started August. It's not going to happen. And in the first round of the playoffs, when it's the most important to be as strong as you can be, and we haven't lifted since August, and now it's the first Friday night in November, our competition has the advantage. So we need to stay as strong as we can be, at least maintain what we've gained, or be stronger at that point. And we want to see our kids be able to maximize what they can do for us through their high school career. So consistency in the weight room is how it happened.
Well, Coach, it sounds to me, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me like it's almost a mindset of we're going to work and we're going to outwork everybody else.
Yes, pretty much.
Well, I think that's great. I've always been a huge proponent of the weight room. things have changed since I first started. It was it was a big deal if a school had one of those universal machines with the plates on it that you put the pins in.
Yeah.
That was the weight program for most schools, and it's just changed so much. Young guys like yourself. I personally believe that's who needs to be heading up these programs, because people like me that's still hanging around, us dinosaurs, we don't know the latest and greatest workouts. And from everything I've heard, you're doing a great job up there. And I know Coach Gilcrease is glad to have you, and because he just keeps singing your praises.
Well, thank you.
Well, Coach Ennis, you probably got your workout on a Bowflex, didn't you?
We didn't know what a Bowflex was. I'm telling you, we had
It was the total gym.
Yeah.
That had the pins in them.
Yeah. Well, hey, Coach Ennis, we're gonna wrap Coach Bowen up. He's taking his time tonight, and but we got to thank Coach Bowen. All of our first time guests. I didn't tell you this because I didn't want you to get worried. Is we do a little thing called 3rd and 3, and now Coach Ennis, can you come up with a question for him?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
We usually ask 3 questions. We have a first down, second down, third down, and it has nothing to do with the weight room, has nothing to do with football, but we usually are real kind to the first time guests. It's something that
Okay.
you can answer. It's not going to embarrass you or anything like that.
Okay.
Let me go first, Coach.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Here's first down. Name your favorite cereal.
My favorite cereal. Reese's Puffs.
Ooh, Coach eats that chocolate Reese Puff stuff.
That's unusual.
Well, he gets a little sugar in that cereal right there.
I can't tell you the last time I've ate a bowl of cereal.
Oh, all right, Coach. Shoot, second down.
Okay. This is my question, Coach. You get a long weekend so that you don't have to worry about anything. Do you go to the mountains or go to the beach?
I'm going to the beach.
Going to the beach, Coach. That's usually what every coach says right there. They going to the beach.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it is. That's what all the young coaches say that are still in shape.
Yeah. Well, Coach Bowen's still in shape. He's young. He's going to go to the beach.
And see, if you asked me that 30 years ago, I'd have said the beach. You ask me now, I'm going to say to the couch.
To the couch.
Yeah.
All right. Here's your last question, Coach. Name your favorite pro wrestler.
My favorite. Oh, that's a good one. I got to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold, Coach. Have we had a Stone Cold?
That's mine. That's my era right there.
That's mine too.
Yeah, we've been waiting on a coach to say Stone Cold because usually we go, depends on how old the coaches are. We interview Coach Bowen, but a lot of them know Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, but they didn't grow up during that time when they were hot. But Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's what I'm talking about. The Stone Cold Stunner, Austin 316.
That's right.
And all that good stuff. Well, listen, Coach Bowen, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight. I apologize that Coach Ennis had to go do what he had to do, and he and I are going to talk more about that with those 2 idiots that caused problem over at the Masters. But I can tell you this, that you're doing a good job there. And like Coach Ennis said, Coach Gilcrease sings your praises. And just by talking with you, I know you're organized. You have a love for those kids. And y'all not going to do anything but be successful.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we'll see you maybe tomorrow.
Good luck,
Yes, sir. I'll
Coach.
see you in the morning.
All right.
See you.
Hey, that was Coach Bowen, strength and conditioning coach, also coaches defensive backs there at Straughn High School. You know, Coach Ennis, the Coach Gilcrease came in there. He put together a pretty good little staff and got some young guys like Coach Bowen. And I think that's what he's got a combination of a couple of older guys too. And I think that mix he's got there, the kids are responding well out there.
Well, you know, I think the record speaks for itself, and in that you don't see anything but improvement going on there. They just keep climbing, and that's what you want in a program. Is you know, you don't ever want to stay the same. You want to keep climbing, and Coach Gilcrease has done an excellent job putting together a staff that's their goal and that's what they're doing.
Well, that's what I had a chance to talk with Coach Bowen today at school, and I was telling him, I said, a lot of times I look at the kids as how they look physically. If I can tell if they've been in the weight room, and I can tell that the ones in Straughn out at Straughn have been in the weight room. And I'm not saying one or two. I'm saying just about all of them. You can tell that they've gone in there, and it's business when they get in that weight room, and that says a lot about that. You know, some programs do not take it quite as seriously as they should, and then you can also tell the difference in the success of the ones that do.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a I'm gonna get fancy right here.
All right.
There's a direct correlation.
Yeah, that was a math term, isn't it?
I think so. I thought it was a cooking term. There's a direct correlation between having success in the weight room and having success on the field.
Well, that's what I was telling him as far as here in Covenant County, as far as just looking at the kids off the hoof, that them and Andalusia, I can tell that they hit the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
Those two schools right there. And so, and you look at who's been successful in the county, and, you know, of course, Op has been too, but I don't know if they spend as much time in it as those two schools do or not. But, you know, Coach Gilcrease up there's got them going in the right direction. And I know that the expectations are high this year since they did host a playoff game and finish runner-up in their area. So they got a spring game coming up, Coach, on I want to think it's May the 12th with Geneva.
That'll be a barn burner right there.
It should be. That ought to be a real good ball game. And we know Coach Sanders over at Geneva, and I think it's going to be played at Straughn. I'll have to check on that. But they got that coming up. They're starting spring training here pretty soon. Well, Coach, you know, we didn't talk about it last week, but I know that Stevie and he got back up with Jonathan. You know, Jonathan's the big golfer. And they got tickets again to go to the Masters. They didn't get it during the COVID time and had a chance to go over there, and they took Stevie's Chevette, and the thing broke down out in front of that house out there on the, you know, near the course.
Yeah.
But they also got arrested, and they had to call you, and y'all had all kind of trouble trying to get back to Alabama.
Well, you know, anytime you're dealing with those two, there's going to be problems. You know, with them two, I mean, you can't have nothing. They could tear up an anvil in a sand bed with a rubber hammer.
Well, now let me get this. They were at the green with Tiger Woods, and the quiet sign came up, and Stevie pulled out his harp.
And he started playing it.
Yeah, they probably didn't take too kindly to
No, that and they get tired. They get tired of hearing the Funyun crunch.
yeah. Well, I'd heard that Jonathan got over there and was stealing pimento cheese sandwiches. Was there any-
And he was getting the pimento cheese, and dang, Stevie was putting Funyuns on cucumber sandwiches.
Well, I heard he was trying to sell some of those himself too.
Listen, he had a sign that said Bigfoot seen here and had a big finger pointing down to a table full of Funyuns.
Well, I tell you, them two, have y'all made it back anywhere near Covenant County yet?
Well, right now we're going through right through Bainbridge, Georgia.
Okay.
And they're all hollering, wanting to go. They want to turn and go through Vidalia because Stevie said he wanted to get some onions and see if he could copy the Funyun recipe.
Well, I don't think
he wants to get some Vidalia onions.
Well, I'll tell you, I hate you. You still a pretty good ways away, but to change the subject, going back to some serious stuff, we still got some coaching changes and administrative changes right here nearby to us. Ops looking for a new principal. Geneva County High, I think they're going to name their new head coach here pretty soon. You got any more words out there on the ticker, on the rumor ticker?
Well, Gordo is fixing to hire Jackson's offensive coordinator, and Florella is going to be looking for a new head coach. And I'm just going to go ahead and say there's some young coaches out there that would be a great first job for them. As you well know, Florella has a tendency to, I'm not saying you needed this, but it has a tendency to humble coaches.
Yeah, it'll humble you in about 30 seconds.
And there's some young coaches out there that, hey, it's time for them to get a shot. And I hate to say this, and I don't mean to be negative, but if you can have any success at all at Florella, then that you're doing a really good job.
Well, it also helps that you get down there on the high end of that cycle instead of the low end.
Well, when my uncle was there, Paul Godwin, I think it was in
72? 70.
It might have been 72, 73, something like that. They actually went to the state championship game and hosted the state championship game in Florella.
So they finished runner-up that year.
They did. They lost to Glencoe, and Glencoe had a quarterback at that time named Doug Trae, who ended up being the head coach at Andalusia for a little while.
Yeah, that's right.
Coach, I'm just full of useless knowledge.
Well, you got all the knowledge right there.
And then, when Arlton Hudson was there, his second go round, he had a squad with, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 12 seniors.
He did.
On a 1A team. And he made a good little run down there.
I know Coach Doug Vickery over at Flomaton, he kind of had a good little run down there before Alton's second go around.
Yes.
But I mean, he took him some lumps, and then got off on the high end of that cycle. Now, here's a trivia question for you, Coach. If we're on Florella trivia, after those 12 seniors graduated, who was the coach that followed Coach Hudson after those 12 seniors graduated?
I believe that was you.
It was. You know how many seniors we had that year?
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know how many seniors you had, but if I'm not mistaken, at one time during the season, you had 4 or either 5 8th graders and 9th graders starting.
That is correct. That's what was left after Coach Hudson in that senior class.
Yeah, and I think that's also the year that you had a lineman that got hit by a linebacker from Brantley, and he swallowed his mouthpiece.
That is correct, and he didn't move for
an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, and that's also the year, Coach, that
I bet that mouthpiece ended up moving sooner or later.
Yeah, it moved. It moved on Taco Tuesday, but that also that was the year we played Providence Christian, and they getting that too tight and knock you off a ball and doing the Notre Dame box and all that, and we had worked all week with our defensive tackles and crawling and pinching and trying to just make a massive pile right there to clog everything up. And man, we went out there that first series and they did everything they was coached to do. I'm talking about, I was like, man, if we can just keep it like this, we're going to be all right. We made them punt. That's about the first time we made anybody punt in 3 or 4 games. And went out there the second go round, and the first play, it opened up like the red, parting like the Red Sea. Could have drove a dang dump truck off a right tackle and get that defensive tackle over there. Said, Jamie Joe. I said, what happened? He said, Coach, I ain't doing that all night. And,
well, Florella's a nice little town.
It is.
It's right there. They got that big lake down there, packed full of alligators.
And there's some good folks down there. It's just that the sports programs, it goes through cycles in those little small places. And one more thing, Coach, Florella, and I'm going to tell another silly story, but during that game also, after it was 0-0 for about 5 minutes, when Providence Christian decided they was going to just open up the whole can on us, I was looking over there. It was 56-6 up there on the scoreboard, and I looked to my right, and there's a kid there next to me, big lineman. Hardly ever got to play. He went by the nickname of E.T., and I looked over at E.T., and he has 2 inhalers with athletic tape around his face mask where he could puff those things off his face mask, Coach.
Did it work?
Well, I was so embarrassed, first of all, the way we came out, and then we just laid down. And I looked over there. I said, E.T., you better get away from me or get those inhalers off your face mask. And about lost it and trying to just keep composure. And he walked away from him for a little while, and he came back and he said, Coach, I got rid of them. I said, good. I said, I won't say that again. He said, I put them in my socks. He had 1 inhaler in 1 sock, 1 in the other, Coach. So,
well, I'm gonna say this though, Sam. There's one thing about Florella that you cannot deny, and that is those people down there love the Florella Wildcats.
They do. They love the Wildcats, and they love all their sports, and they love their school. And
yeah, it doesn't matter what sport you play in. When you go to Florella, they've got the home field advantage just because of the fan support. I'm gonna say that there's not many places around that have the support that those people give. And there's good people down there that love that school. They care about that school, and they want what's best for that school.
That's right.
And they just do a fantastic job supporting them. And I have a great concession stand too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to admit that.
well, Coach, we talked last week of some more changes nearby in op. We'll have some new assistant coaches. They're looking for a new principal.
And the principal that was there was Aaron Hightower. And look, Aaron is a hometown boy. He's been very successful in all his careers, and I'm positive he's going to be successful at his new position. I taught over there. My wife taught over there while Aaron was the principal at the middle school, and she said he was a great administrator. He ran a great school. The teacher, he always supported the teachers. Aaron's going to be successful in whatever he decides to do.
He is. Well, that's going to be the hot topic over in op about who's going to be the new principal. So, they got a good group of kids coming back as far as football, and they got Mike Dubose as their head coach. So I'm sure they'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael Smithhart's the superintendent over there, and he's been there for a number of years now in that role. And he's gonna get those positions filled with whoever he thinks is gonna do a good job.
Well, Coach, there's not a whole lot left as far as putting the bows on the presents here tonight. I hate you didn't get to join us on the camera. I hate that you had to go make a trip to Georgia.
Well, they're both putting in the stop at the Huddle House, but I'm not. I don't want to stop anywhere in public for these two.
No, I wouldn't either. Well, listen, Coach, let's wrap this thing up. That's one in a row. And hey, I was telling Coach Bowen, I was on earlier, he was our first assistant coach. We've been asking coaches to, kind of highlight some folks on their staff, and he's our first one. And we want to get some position coaches where.
Well, I'm gonna say this: he may be an assistant and a position coach right now, but I've got a feeling we may have him on the show one day as a new head coach of a program somewhere.
I agree. He's organized, and I think you're right. I think you're right. Well, Coach, that's one in a row. We want to thank everybody that tunes in and listen. If you haven't, tell your friends. Go to Facebook, Power Prep Sports Network. Like and follow our page. We're also on Twitter and YouTube. You can catch the show on YouTube, Power Prep Sports Network. Also on Instagram, Coach. I had some pictures of you with Bigfoot on there this week. I don't know if you saw that or not from your Bigfoot trip a couple weeks ago. Did you see that picture?
I did. No, I didn't. I hadn't got. I don't have flip flop or Twitter or nothing like that.
Well, you need to get that. I might have to get Jonathan to get you hooked up on that other media because we're starting to pick up really more folks in that area than we are on Facebook, just because Facebook.
Well, I had somebody ask me today if we were going to upload this or if this was going to be live on the podcast.
Well, that's another thing too, Coach. I'm usually a week or 2 weeks behind because I do have to upload it, and I kind of have to do it in segments, so it's a little work on my part. But yeah, you can catch all of our shows that we've done this season by podcast as well. You can catch that on Spotify, Anchor. Heck, there's about 8 different ways you can listen to us.
He was asking me all about these podcasts, and I told him that I casted plastic worms and spinner baits and buzz baits, but I didn't know nothing about casting a pod.
Well, you can catch our shows on that. They're usually a week or a week behind, but yeah, there's a lot of things there, and we want folks' input, things they may want to talk about. Hear us talk about coaches from certain areas.
Hashtag the pipe.
Yeah, and hashtag bring back the pipe. We're still working on that. If you got something you want to say, you can email us at powerprepsports@gmail.com. Coach, that's one in a row for the coach, Coach Greg Ennis. This is Stan the coach.